In the vast, cacophonous theater of modern life, where committees debate in endless loops and public opinion is shaped by the loudest voices, a singular figure operates with quiet, formidable efficacy. This is the Sigma male. He is not defined by the traditional metrics of alpha dominance or beta acquiescence, but by a profound and systemic independence. His most potent asset, the sharpest tool in his intellectual arsenal, is a problem-solving methodology so refined, so ruthlessly effective that it appears to the untrained eye as a form of clairvoyance or genius. While the world grapples with symptoms, mired in the quicksand of analysis paralysis and groupthink, the Sigma male operates on a different plane of cognition. He does not merely solve problems. He deconstructs them to their atomic parts, comprehends their underlying architecture, and engineers solutions of such elegant simplicity that they often elicit a stunned reflection, "Why didn't I think of that?" This capability is not a random gift, a fortunate roll of the genetic dice. It is a deliberate output of a specific, disciplined cognitive framework, a mental operating system engineered for clarity in a world of noise. It is a framework that consciously rejects the herd mentality, the comfortable, often unexamined consensus that dictates conventional approaches to challenges. If you have ever observed an individual who consistently navigates complex professional, personal, and strategic quandaries with unflappable poise and devastating effectiveness, you have likely witnessed the Sigma male's methodology in action. What follows is a meticulous exploration of the 8 core techniques that constitute the backbone of this remarkable approach to dismantling complexity. This is not a collection of disjointed tips, but an interconnected system of thought, each principle reinforcing and amplifying the others. Technique 1, the root cause excavation method, digging to bedrock. The first and most fundamental technique in the Sigma male's arsenal is a relentless pursuit of foundational truth. He understands with visceral clarity a universal law of problem solving. Treating symptoms is an exercise in futility, a Sisyphean task that consumes resources while the core issue continues to fester and regenerate. Most individuals and organizations, trapped by time constraints or desire for quick wins, apply band-aids to compound fractures. The Sigma male's first move, therefore, is not to ask, "What do we do?" but "Why is this happening?" This initiates a process of intellectual archaeology we shall call root cause excavation, the 5 whys in the spirit of brutal honesty. The methodology is often operationalized through a disciplined application of the 5 whys technique, though the Sigma male does not treat this as a literal 5-step limit. For him, it is a philosophy of iterative inquiry, a relentless why chain that continues until it hits the non-negotiable bedrock of reality. The process requires a form of intellectual courage that is in short supply, for it often leads to uncomfortable truths that implicate one's own assumptions, behaviors, or the sacred cows of an organization. Consider the presented example of declining sales. The conventional response might be to increase advertising spending, offer steeper discounts, or pressure the sales team. These are all symptom-level treatments. First, why? Why are sales declining? The answer might be, because we are receiving fewer new customer inquiries. Second, why? Why are we receiving fewer new inquiries? The answer, because our digital marketing campaigns are underperforming. Third, why? Why are our campaigns underperforming? The answer, because the click-through rates have plummeted. Fourth, why? Why have the click-through rates plummeted? The answer, because our messaging, which focuses on product feature X, no longer resonates with our target audience. Fifth, why? Why does feature X no longer resonate? This is the critical excavation point. The answer, arrived through market research and customer feedback, might be because a fundamental shift in consumer priorities has occurred. They now value seamless integration and sustainability over the standalone technical prowess of feature X. The Sigma male drills down to this 5th layer, uncovering not a marketing problem, but a product-market fit problem. Increasing advertising for an undesired product is like trying to fill a leaky bucket by pouring water in faster. His solution, therefore, is not a superficial marketing tweak, but a fundamental pivot in product strategy or a complete overhaul of the value proposition. This excavation saves enormous amounts of capital, human hours, and strategic focus that would otherwise be wasted on ineffective solutions. The solution is permanent because it addresses the disease, not the fever. The psychological barriers to excavation. This technique seems straightforward, yet it is exceedingly rare in practice. The Sigma male's ability to employ it stems from his detached emotional posture. He is not invested in being right about his initial hypotheses. He is invested in discovering what is true. In a corporate setting, this process can be politically dangerous, as it may reveal failures in leadership, strategy, or legacy products. The Sigma male, unburdened by a need for social validation, is uniquely positioned to wield this tool without flinching. His focus is on the integrity of the structure, not on preserving the paint on a crumbling wall. Technique 2. The first principles deconstruction framework. Building from the ground up. If the first technique is about digging down, the second is about building anew. While the majority of the population operates primarily by analogy, how have others solved similar problems? The Sigma male operates from first principles. This is a practice of breaking down complex problems into their most basic, fundamental, indivisible components, the first principles, and then constructing solutions from that foundation upward. Escaping the prison of analogy. Analogical thinking is efficient and low energy. It is the cognitive equivalent of following a recipe. First principles thinking is labor-intensive but revolutionary. It is a process of understanding the chemistry of food to invent a new cuisine. The Sigma male, when facing a business challenge, consciously resists the question, "What are our competitors doing?" Instead, he asks, "What are the fundamental human needs or desires we're trying to satisfy? What are the immutable laws of physics, economics, or human psychology that govern the situation? If we were starting from scratch today, with no preconceived notions of how things are done, what would we build?" This mental model is as key to escaping the gravitational pull of industry assumptions and cultural biases. It is how Elon Musk approached the cost of rocket parts. Instead of accepting the analogical premise that rockets are expensive, his team at SpaceX deconstructed a rocket into its raw materials, aluminum, titanium, copper, etc., and calculated the cost of these materials on the commodity market. The shocking realization was that the raw material cost was a tiny fraction of the finished rocket's price. The problem, therefore, was not an inherent expense, but the profound inefficiency of the aerospace manufacturing process. This first principles insight led to the vertically integrated, in-house manufacturing model that made SpaceX viable. The process of deconstruction and reconstruction. The application of this framework involves 3 distinct phases. Identify and define your fundamental assumptions. The Sigma male explicitly lists everything he knows about a problem. Rockets cost $60 million. People need to own cars. Software must be installed on a computer. Break down the problem into its fundamental truths. This is the deconstruction phase. He separates the actual truths from the inherited assumptions. The fundamental truth is that a rocket is made of metals and alloys with a specific mass. The cost of those materials is X. The inherited assumption is that they must be assembled by a sprawling, expensive supply chain. Create new solutions from the ground up. With the fundamental truths laid bare, he begins reconstruction. How can we acquire these materials at cost? How can we design and manufacture the components ourselves to reduce cost and improve efficiency? This technique is the intellectual engine behind true innovation. It is the difference between incrementally improving the efficiency of a candle analogy and inventing the electric light bulb first principles. The Sigma male solutions are often groundbreaking precisely because he is not competing within the existing paradigm. He is creating a new one. Technique 3. The multidisciplinary cross-pollination approach, the intellectual omnivore. The Sigma male is an intellectual omnivore. He understands that wisdom is not siloed into academic disciplines or industry verticals. Patterns of success, failure, efficiency, and complexity repeat themselves across vastly different domains. Therefore, his third technique is the active and deliberate multidisciplinary cross-pollination of ideas. He imports problem-solving frameworks, metaphors, and entire mental models from fields entirely unrelated to his own. The ant colony and the corporate structure. When confronted with organizational inefficiency, the conventional manager might read the latest book by a business guru, often rehashing the same core ideas. The Sigma male, however, looks further afield. He might study the decentralized coordination of an ant colony. How do thousands of individuals without a central command structure achieve complex tasks like foraging, building, and defense? The principles of stigmergy, indirect coordination through environmental cues, can inspire novel approaches to project management software or team-based autonomy, reducing the need for top-down micromanagement. Similarly, when grappled with personal productivity, he doesn't just follow time management gurus. He examines the principles of factory assembly line optimization. How is work in progress, WIP, limited to prevent bottlenecks? This concept can be directly applied to his task list, leading him to limit the number of active projects and focus on completion rather than mere activity, a methodology mirrored in the Kanban system used in software development. Preventing intellectual inbreeding. This cross-pollination serves a vital prophylactic function. It prevents what could be termed intellectual inbreeding. When a group of experts from the same field consults only each other, their ideas become increasingly refined but also increasingly similar and detached from other possibilities. They are polishing the same stone. The Sigma male, by venturing into the libraries of biology, military strategy, mathematics, and art, brings back exotic and robust mental models. He might apply game theory from economics to navigate a social dilemma, or use the artistic concept of negative space, the power of what is left out, to simplify a cluttered business proposal. His solutions seem novel and creative not because they are born from nothing, but because they are proven patterns from domains that competitors never think to explore. He has a vast, diverse toolbox where others have only a single hammer. Technique 4. The reverse engineering from ideal state method, beginning with the end. Conventional, linear problem solving starts from the present unsatisfactory situation, point A, and tries to figure out the next logical step forward. This often leads to incremental, timid solutions constrained by the perceived limitations of the current reality. The Sigma male frequently inverts this process. His fourth technique is reverse engineering from an ideal state, the power of working backwards. He begins not with what is, but with what if. He first defines in vivid, granular detail what perfect success would look like, completely unconstrained by present circumstances. He visualizes the ideal outcome in its completed form. Then, and only then, does he work backward from that ideal future to the present, charting the necessary steps to bridge the gap. Consider the example of a career transition. The conventional approach is to look at the current job market, point A, and see what roles are available that are a slight improvement. This is a forward-looking, incremental path. The Sigma male's approach is different. He sits down and defines his ideal professional life. The nature of the work itself, autonomous, creative, analytical, the compensation and lifestyle affords financial freedom, geographic flexibility, the values of the organization, and the impact on the world. This becomes his point B. From this clearly defined point B, he reverse engineers the path. To have this role, what skills must I possess? To acquire those skills, what projects must I complete or what education must I pursue? To be considered for such a position, what network must I build? What intermediate roles would serve as stepping stones? This backward-thinking process often reveals non-obvious, non-linear pathways that are invisible when starting from the present. It might reveal that a lateral move into a different industry provides the necessary skills, or that building a public portfolio of work is more valuable than another formal degree. Liberation from present constraints. The profound power of this approach lies in its liberation from the gravity weld the current situation. By starting from the ideal, he bypasses the mental barriers of how things are. Current constraints, lack of credentials, insufficient funds, industry gatekeeping, are no longer movable roadblocks at the beginning of the journey. Instead, they become specific problems to be solved along the plotted path from the future. He might identify that a perceived constraint, like a required degree, is actually not a true requirement for his defined ideal role, or he can find a way to demonstrate equivalent competence. This is how the Sigma male makes quantum leaps, while others are stuck optimizing their position on a local peak, unaware of the much higher mountain in the distance. Technique 5. The constraint identification and elimination process. Challenging the walls. Most people approach problems within a set of assumed boundaries. They treat constraints, budget, time, regulation, technology, as the fixed walls of the playing field. The Sigma male's fifth technique is to treat these constraints not as immovable boundaries, but as the most fertile ground for innovation. He engages in a systematic process of constraint identification and elimination, real versus assumed constraints. His method is simple yet powerful. He meticulously lists every single perceived constraint and then subjects each one to a ruthless interrogation. Is this constraint real or assumed? If it is real, can it be removed entirely? If it cannot be removed, can it be bypassed or circumvented? Could this constraint potentially be turned into an advantage? This line of questioning frequently reveals that a significant proportion of limitations are psychological or traditional, not physical or legal. They are zombie rules, rules that persist long after their reason for existing has died. When told, "We can't do that because it's never been done that way," or "the budget doesn't allow for it," the Sigma male hears a challenge, not a conclusion, transforming liabilities into assets. History is replete with examples of this principle in action. The constraint of low budget for film special effects led George Lucas to innovate and form Industrial Light and Magic, creating a new industry. The constraint of building a car for the masses led Henry Ford to develop the moving assembly line. The Sigma male operates on the same principle. Faced with a regulatory constraint, he doesn't give up. He explores whether the regulation applies to a different legal structure or a novel interpretation. Confronted with a technological limitation, he investigates whether combining existing, simpler technologies in a novel way can achieve the same outcome at a fraction of the cost. His solutions work not because he possesses a higher IQ, but because he is fundamentally playing a different game. While others are trying to win within the established rules, he is first questioning whether the rules themselves are valid or can be changed. He solved impossible problems by simply refusing to accept the artificial boundaries that others treat as the immutable laws of nature. Technique 6. The minimum viable solution implementation strategy. The power of actionable feedback. In a world that often conflates complexity with sophistication, the Sigma male embraces a powerful counterintuitive principle. The best is the enemy of the good. While others succumb to the paralysis of seeking perfect, comprehensive solutions before taking any action, a state known as analysis paralysis, the Sigma male practices minimum viable solution (MVS) implementation. The fallacy of the perfect plan. The conventional approach is to plan exhaustively, attempting to anticipate every possible variable and edge case, creating elaborate Gantt charts and 100-page strategy documents. This process is slow, creates a psychological attachment to a specific plan, and is often based on untested assumptions. By the time the perfect solution is ready for launch, the market or the nature of the problem may have already shifted. The Sigma male rejects this. His strategy is rooted in the agile and lean methodologies of software development, applied universally. He identifies the simplest, fastest, least effort version of solution that could potentially work, the minimum viable solution, and implements immediately. The goal is not to solve the problem completely with the first attempt, but to generate real-world data and feedback as quickly as possible. The build, measure, learn feedback loop. When developing a new product, he doesn't spend 2 years building a feature-rich application in isolation. He creates a basic prototype, or even just a mock-up or landing page describing the product, and puts it in front of real users. He then observes, measures, and listens. Do they understand it? Do they want it? How do they use it? This feedback is pure gold, instantly revealing which assumptions were correct and which were disastrously wrong. This approach has profound advantages. It prevents catastrophic waste. It stops him from investing thousands of hours and dollars into building a feature that nobody wants or needs. It creates momentum. Action begets action. A small, implemented solution creates energy and clarity that planning alone never can. It makes larger problems solve themselves. By taking a small step, the landscape of the problem changes, often making the next steps obvious or even rendering parts of the larger problem obsolete. The Sigma male solutions are not static monuments carved in stone. They are living, evolving systems that adapt and improve through direct experience with reality. His plan is not a rigid blueprint, but a flexible map that is redrawn with each new piece of terrain uncovered. Technique 7. The environmental redesign principle, engineering the current, Many self-improvement and problem-solving philosophies place an overwhelming emphasis on willpower and discipline. The underlying message is, try harder, be more disciplined, fight your instincts. The Sigma male recognizes this as a fundamentally flawed and exhausting strategy. His seventh technique bypasses this internal struggle through the environmental redesign principle, the futility of fighting the current. He understands that human behavior is not primarily a product of character, but of context. Our environment, physical, digital, and social, exerts a powerful, often subconscious influence on our actions. Trying to exercise willpower against a strong environmental current is like trying to swim upstream. It is possible for a short while, but ultimately exhausting and unsustainable. Instead of fighting the current, the Sigma male engineers the river. He redesigns his environment so that the desired behaviors become the path of least resistance, and the undesired behaviors become difficult. Practical applications of environmental design. Problem: I'm constantly distracted at work and can't focus. Willpower solution: I will try harder to concentrate. Inevitably fails. Sigma solution: he redesigns his environment. He uses a website blocker on his computer during deep work sessions, puts his phone in another room on silent, and reorganizes his physical workspace to be minimalist and free of clutter. He makes distraction physically difficult and focus easy. Problem: I want to eat healthier and exercise more. Willpower solution: I will resist junk food and force myself to go to the gym. Relies on constant energy expenditure. Sigma solution: he redesigns his environment. He stops buying junk food, ensuring only healthy options are readily available at home. He prepares his gym clothes the night before and places them next to his bed. He might even sign up for a gym that is directly on his commute route, removing the friction of a special trip. This technique recognizes that you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. The Sigma male solutions often seem effortless because he has engineered a system, a carefully designed environment, that naturally guides him toward his objectives. He expends his finite willpower not on daily battles, but on the one-time task of building a superior fortress. Technique 8. The Teach It to a Child simplification test, the litmus test of true understanding. The final technique in the Sigma male's arsenal is a powerful filter for intellectual vanity and unnecessary complexity. Before he finalizes any solution or communicates any idea, he subjects it to the Teach It to a Child simplification test. He attempts to explain the core concept of a solution in terms so simple and clear that a child could grasp the fundamental logic, forcing functional clarity. This mental exercise is brutally effective at exposing shaky foundations. The famous adage, often attributed to Richard Feynman, holds that if you cannot explain a concept simply, you do not truly understand it. The Sigma male applies this ruthlessly to his own thinking. If he finds himself relying on jargon, circular logic, or vague abstractions to explain a solution, he takes it as a sign that the solution itself is not yet sound. This process of simplification performs several critical functions. It identifies hidden assumptions. In trying to strip an idea down to its essentials, he is forced to explicitly state the assumptions that underpin it, which can then be individually validated. It eliminates needless complexity. It acts as a complexity filter, removing components that are impressive sounding but functionally irrelevant. An over-engineered solution is often a fragile one. It reveals more elegant approaches. The very act of simplification often illuminates a shorter, more direct path to the goal that was obscured by the noise of the initial, complicated approach. His final solutions are characterized by profound and powerful simplicity. They are easy to communicate, easy to implement, and easy to scale. While others are still struggling to untangle their own over-engineered, Rube Goldberg-esque contraptions that collapse under their own complexity, the Sigma male's elegant lever has already moved the world. Do these ideas resonate with you? If you found yourself nodding along or reflecting deeply on the traits and experiences we explored in this video, I'd love to hear your thoughts. The Sigma male mindset isn't often talked about openly, and your perspective, whether you identify with it personally or have encountered it in others, adds valuable depth to the conversation. Drop a comment below and let me know which part hit home the most for you. Have you seen these traits in yourself or someone you know? Your insights help build a community where authenticity and growth are prioritized over popularity and performance. If you're drawn to this kind of introspective, no-nonsense content around Sigma males, psychological strength, emotional intelligence, and high-value living, there's more waiting for you. Explore the other videos on this channel for deeper dives, actionable insights, and raw truths that cut through the noise. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay sharp, stay grounded, and stay unapologetically real. Until next time.